The Battle of Britain is about to begin.
Be Christ, we got tanks up there. Let's follow a range on me, Christ. I do not have that on the target right now. I've got a couple of these right in front of me. I'm going after it. Right, I got him.
Welcome back to the Lead Pursuit Podcast. Tonight, we're going to give you a debrief of Adepticon 2022. So tonight, my team joining me is the guys that were there. We didn't kick Casey off the podcast, but work called and he couldn't make it. So he's not going to be with us tonight to commiserate about his not attending Adepticon. But joining me tonight, I have the man who needs no introduction, the only human being to consume both pineapple and guava margaritas in one sitting, Steve Toth. Steve, how you doing?
Hola, how is everybody tonight?
And our next guest, the only man who can say with a straight face, I'm here for the face painting, is none other than Brett Cantor. Brett, how you doing?
I'm doing good, and I think I was the one wearing the sombrero.
Well, yeah, you were, and thankfully I don't have the photographic evidence of that, so we'll
make good use of that at some point. Don't worry.
We'll act like that never happened. All right, guys. Well, awesome. Thanks for joining me tonight. Wanted to talk a lot about Adepticon, what we saw, what was good, what was not so good, and kind of give people our take on things. But a quick bit of background. So that was the 23rd through the 27th of March. We actually got there a day early, got there on Tuesday, kind of hung out, and then Steve, you rolled in Wednesday afternoon so we could then do our quick get-together and dinner and kind of have our Lead Pursuit board meeting and figure out what we're doing for the next year. But then obviously Wednesday night was the opening of registration. And so Wednesday, hundreds and hundreds of nerds were lined up. It was epic, and it didn't quite smell bad yet, did it? Not yet.
That was kind of a funny scene because we decided not to change from our suit jackets and stuff and just got
Oh yeah,
line,
so
right?
so
it was like, why are you guys
exactly
so
why are you guys
dressed
so dressed up? And of course, my standard line was, "Oh, this isn't the insurance salesman conference. I must be in the wrong registration line." But people were there and they were already wearing bathrobes, so I guess bathrobe guy is a thing. Some of them were already 3 sheets to the wind, which was awesome because the guy behind me was about as drunk as I wanted to be, but was sadly sober. But so it was a fun time going through registration. But of course, none other than John Fog of War Russell shows up. And he intercepts us, pulls us out of the correct line, puts us in the wrong line, tries to hook us up, and sends us 10 minutes later through registration. But I thought it was pretty quick and painless. Good setup getting through registration. I will make the point that, people were obviously upset about the requirements to test or to be vaccinated. That was super easy. They were super flexible, taking a look whether you had hard copy, digital photo of your vaccination card, from a Yahoo group somewhere reshared via the Russians. It didn't really matter. They were good about getting you in there, getting you banded, and getting registered. And then the gratuitous consumption began. So, Steve, you and I grabbed these nice little orange swag bags. The lesser children's swag bag. Oh, really, Brett? You got to make comment about size. Does size matter? Really?
Yeah, I mean, apparently with swag bags, size does matter. I mean, I think we learned that lesson.
Well,
right, Doug?
at least the fact is I didn't have to bring my friends to bring all my swag. So Brett standing there with his VIG. I wouldn't call it a VIG bag. It should have been called the VIG trunk of
like a shopping cart of
a shopping
stuff,
cart
right?
of swag.
Yeah, I
reminded me of those
wheelbarrow.
old Nickelodeon games where you'd the Nickelodeon game show where they'd let you just run around a toy store with a
just grab
shopping
whatever
cart
you
or whatever
could.
you could fit in.
Yeah,
you get to keep.
yeah, exactly. Brett, what was your take on the VIG?
yeah. It was huge. It was actually really hard to carry out to the parking lot with one person. It was like a 2-man lift. It was a lot of stuff. In fact, it was so much stuff. There was no way around it. I was overweight on my bags home. It cost me an extra $100 to get
Yeah,
home.
so congratulations on paying to be in the VIG raffle and paying to bring home all your VIG.
Yeah, that happened.
Well, I kind of laughed because even the regular swag bag was awesome. Between there was stuff for God tier in there. Obviously, you got an entire Age of Sigmar Dominion kit, so huge amount of GW swag being given out there. So that's probably like 200 or 300 of those big box sets they gave away. Crap, I can't even remember half the stuff. There was just a ton of it.
I think that Dominion box was probably like the big prize in the VIG bag, kind of like what was it last year?
Star Trek Ascendancy was the big
everybody
box game the previous time, and then there was Song of Ice and Fire. That's that whole starter kit where like all of us got those. I think that was in the basic swag bag even one year. So
there was a God tier game where
is it tier or tear? Is it? It's like Lead Pursuit, lead or lead? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But it was a pretty cool starter set. That was another big box too, and I got the big Mongo starter box, and everybody else got.
We got expansions,
a
like
faction
five
thing,
miniature faction expansions that we just gave to you because I'm not going to play this.
Look, Gavin's already been on the floor in his room playing with those big epic battles on the
nice.
floor, messing around with those miniatures. That's already happened.
Nice. Yeah, what else? I'm trying to think of anything else big that was in the swag bag. What was the other good stuff?
There was some cool like terrainy mat type stuff, right? Like those cardboard mats that were pretty cool that were good for photo backdrops.
Yeah, that's
There
right.
was
GW
some,
gave everybody in the swag bag their Mechanicus terrain or Mechanicum terrain base board thing. So that was big chunk cardboard that, like you said, made for good backgrounds.
Some
that was pretty big.
What was the Marvel game? Everybody got some of the Marvel
Right, everyone got Crisis Protocol.
Crisis Protocol figures. That was kind of cool, right?
I got a big Legion hero. It was a fairly big box. It was like 3 miniatures for Yoda. I don't know the game very well, but somebody that plays it was in our first painting class. I was telling him about it, and he was all excited about it. So I offered it up to him, and he chased me down to get it. So it was good for him.
It was an awesome swag bag. Every year there's stuff being given away by the vendors. There's always coins. There's markers. There's all kinds of good stuff that end up in the swag bag, and this year was no exception. I was just happy to foist off a lot of it on you, Brett.
Oh, I forgot. I got the squadron box.
Oh, that's right. How could we forget? They're the new resin BF 109s, right?
Oh no!
Oh, they're not?
The collector's edition original.
Really? They're
ones.
collector's edition bendy plastic 109s? That's awesome. I've only got like 10 of those sitting in the Lead Pursuit warehouse. Yeah. Well, that will be a recurring theme with Warlord games for for this event. But, hey, at least Blood Red Sky stuff is being given out. I know it was good because there were some VIG winners that were like, ooh, look what I got. I got Blood Red Skies. And so we could sucker them into playing some games. But unfortunately, I was hoping it would be something much better, at least in the VIG. So that's all right. Now, what I will say is it was cool. As usual, they had a lot of coin support. So there was a limited edition coin this year again. There were pins for this year. For Brett and I, there were pins that I thought were kind of cool, and I was pretty proud to put on my man purse as I carried it around. The Ancient Order of Adepticon. And Brett, how did we get that pin?
Oh, I think that's because we paid. Because
we let it ride.
We paid and everything
from the last time. Yeah. Yes.
We just let them keep everything instead of getting.
Yeah, exactly. We opted, and I'm not saying this to be virtue signaling here, just to let everyone know that there were a lot of us that just said, hey, keep all the swag, don't ship it to us, don't refund us our money. We love Adepticon, and we need you guys to be solvent so we could come back in a later year. Because for me, it was a practical business decision, was because all of that swag that they would have had to ship us, and then, if we'd asked for a refund and all these other things, to me, that's the kind of money that you throw back into the event because it costs a crap ton of money to run something like this. So they were super cool. They made limited edition pins for us.
They must have taken a a big hit, having that thing cancel like that. So that was kind of
absolutely. That was my motivation. Was that, hey, let them do with what they can. And it was funny because even this year, the Adepticon dice showed up like 16 hours after the event closed. And so they're being good and they're shipping those dice out to everybody who ordered them. But those things are always a drag on an event like this. And I know that for a lot of people out there, at least on the interwebs, it seems, there's not an appreciation of how hard and how expensive these events are. So anything that we felt we could do to just turn that money back over to Adepticon, in the hopes that one of these days we'd still have an Adepticon and they wouldn't be broke and insolvent and going through bankruptcy, for us was worthwhile. So I was pretty happy that they recognized us with a pin. Not like I need a flag to walk through and go, oh, look at me, I gave my money back, I'm a good guy. Who cares? We really don't care. But anyway, so. There was some other cool stuff that was in there. Bottle opener. I'm pretty happy about it. I'm going to magnetize that, stick it on the side of my beer fridge. So I've got my big Adepticon bottle opener for all the gamers that come over to my house to drink beer. Oh, wait, they don't. So, yeah, I'll have to remedy that situation. Brett, maybe I'll ship it to you so we can put it down in the Brett War Room.
We play games and drink beer when you come
Yeah,
here.
exactly. So maybe we need to come back down to Florida. Okay, anything else on Wednesday on the check-in on the swag bags? Any other fun stories to relate?
I don't know, selfies with the big life-size Space Marine guy, right? I mean, you can't miss out on that.
It was funny for me to watch throughout the entire weekend who was taking photos in front of the Space Marine, because it wasn't just Games Workshop nerds. So, I mean, I was out there, I took a photo, you guys took photos. There were couples taking a cute photo in front of it. There were, game teams taking a photo out front of it. It was just funny. So regardless whether you were a GW fan or not, everybody was taking photos in front of the big boy in blue. So I'm sure Brett was all happy that it was his boys that were featured out there, but that's all right. No big deal. Didn't want a big boy in yellow. That's all right. No big deal.
No, it's further proof that Ultramarines are the best.
Whatever.
Marines.
Of course, Steve right now is saying, what's a Space Marine? I don't even, who are these big tall guys with funny red eyes?
That's the thing that Donald Trump started,
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
The Space
Marine
Marines.
Force, was that it? Oh, my bad.
Space Marine Force. I'm going to join those guys. They're cool. Yeah. All right. So Thursday, everybody rolled in to at least hit the vendor hall, see some of the convention. You two weirdos went off to your class that I'll refer to face painting, not like Kid Rock's kind of face painting, but painting of faces with miniature paint. Tell us about that. How did that work out?
It was a great class. It was Mamicon taught the class, and he had at least 2 entries into Golden Demon.
I saw 2 of his.
I think he's won like 6 Golden Demons or something in the past. So,
so what were his entries, real quick, while we're talking about? Because one of them is kind of important for us.
Yeah, he had 4 entries, right? I think he'd had his major large diorama. He had a small Aeronautica Imperialis fighter. He had some little knight holding a banner type thing. And then one other one that I can't remember what it was. But the dude actually won 3 Golden Demon Awards just this year, right? So, if the guy can paint, so taking a class with him was just super, super awesome.
Yeah, he was super laid back and cool too. He was really a cool guy. I mean, I'd never met him before, but taking a class with him, the instruction was really good. But he was also just super cool, and real humble and stuff, easy to talk to, and
Oh, you mean not like most of the people painting stuff for the Golden Demon?
I don't know. I mean, I don't have any preconceptions, but he was really approachable, I guess, is a thing. It was really clear he was a really obviously a super stellar painter, but he didn't, talk about himself and I don't know. It's just you just felt like he was a cool cat to learn from. That's all.
Well, I'm glad you guys got to do that. I spent most of my time in the vendor halls figuring out where I could spend lots of money, or arcing around doing event organizer things, trying to figure that out. But we all kind of linked up later that afternoon into the early evening to play, drum roll please, Aerodrome 2.0. So that's all Steve's fault. I blame him. It has nothing to do with us interviewing anyone else or having seen it for years or any of those things. But it was a good time. I really enjoyed it. I had not spent a whole lot of time looking at Aerodrome other than seeing the big display and how everything was done. Brett, what were your thoughts playing Aerodrome since it was also your first time out there?
I thought it was super fun. The presentation was awesome. And, I was actually, I think I might have said this out loud a couple times, that I couldn't believe that this isn't a game that, I presume that it's not a game you can play outside of a convention like this. It's some guys that go around and you can sign up to play, but it's not like you can go out and purchase this game and play at home with your friends. But dang, it ought to be. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. And, let's be honest, 75% of that was Mark and his way of hosting the event. So there's one of these true things that regardless of whether a game is good, bad, indifferent, otherwise, written on the back of a bar napkin, the people who present it and who host the game in a lot of ways make the game. And we had a lot of fun, and the interaction driven throughout the whole game. We've talked about on the podcast previously the pre-plotted movement, and there were a few times that it felt a little, I don't want to say hokey, but a little frustrating that how could I have missed that opportunity? But it was also a heck of a lot of fun, and it was challenging. And it certainly was not X-Wing with pre-plotted movement where you end up turning the wrong directions and never getting back in the same piece of sky. So I enjoyed peppering both of your aircraft with bullets at various times. And we had a wide variety of people playing. So we obviously had some Blood Red Skies players. We had some non-BRS. We had some younger players as well out there flying on our side, on the Allied side, up against you guys flying 109s. But I really enjoyed the system. I think my biggest takeaway was I enjoyed the maneuvers, and we'll talk about it a little bit, not in this episode, probably when we talk more in detail about Aeronautica Imperialis. The one thing I really liked was you had to constantly think about your altitude trade-offs. So a lot of those maneuvers either forced you to trade altitude, gain or lose, or then gave you an option. And so you had to make sure you picked the right one there. So, it probably was a fairly straightforward matchup of us with Spitfires and you all with Hurricanes. I know Brett was disappointed not to have a great climb card by where he could screw all of his buddies. But it was certainly fun for me. Steve, you've played before. You played the jet version. What was it like playing the World War II version?
I really liked it. Excuse me. I was asked, a couple times by Mark which one I preferred, and truthfully, both very fun. Tough to pick a favorite. Yeah, it was fun. I thought it was cool that we got some people in that game that wound up coming to try out BRS. So that was pretty cool. We picked up a couple people to do that, but yeah, just a fun time. And Mark did a great job hosting it, and have my eye on the mailbox for my kill wings to show up here any day now in the mail.
Exactly. I got mine there, so thanks to Mark for throwing the swag my way, for earning my first kill there. It really was an enjoyable game for me, and I'd like to see how the Jets play and how different they feel, because I know you've played both, so you've been able to compare. Hopefully we'll have a chance at NashCon this year, so shameless plug for NashCon in the middle of August. That will be in, yes, Nashville, obviously. But Aerodrome is going to be there. At least I'm going to be there. I don't know if anyone else in the Lead Pursuit team will make it. I think your boot budget is probably spent for the year there, Steve. So
yeah, I can't afford NashCon,
exactly.
man.
3 pairs of boots later.
You give me the option of taking my whole family to Disney for 2 weeks, or NashCon. I'll have to go to Disney. NashCon was a tough one.
I don't blame you. Yeah, so I'll definitely be up there. It's in my backyard. There's truly no reason for me not to go to NashCon. So we'll be there. I think we'll do a Blood Red Skies tournament and hopefully some demo games and have some fun. But if you have not tried Aerodrome and you're a aeronautical gamer, absolutely try it. I think they'll probably do mostly 2-0 games at NashCon, but we'll see. And I'm definitely on board to play again, to try again, and hopefully fly a little bit better than I did this last time. But I didn't get shot down, so that's all I care about. I only slightly got peppered with bullets, but that's all right.
My plane must have been smoking the entire game, because I think I was down to
I think
points
I kept trying
game.
to rendezvous on you, put the last few bullets in to finish you off, and it didn't work out for me in that last one. But that's fine. I'll tell you, most of the time I ran out of ammo before anything, but that's because I was spraying and praying and hoping that someone would end up in front of me. Super fun game. Obviously, Mark did a great job hosting it. I think I saw some posts. I think you can play it on your own because I think there's some limited number of those displays being sold. I think, at least what I saw in one of the Aerial War Games Facebook posts. So yeah, if people are interested, absolutely go check it out. Lots of fun to play.
They had a really fun something I thought was really kind of cool was their critical hit mechanic.
Yeah.
You know, there was that slight chance that like your ailerons would stick or whatever. I wish I could. I wish I had the presence of mind to make a mental note of all the different critical hit
Yeah.
potential things that could happen because it could be a good add-on.
Those were fun, and they were secret, which was the nice thing. So generally, if you did it right, the enemy didn't know what they'd done to you, but they just could watch you and go, "Oh, he can't climb," or "He's stuck flying straight forward," things like that. So that was a cool mechanic. So the rest of our time was spent in the vendor hall, and I say that with an ominous tone, because I'm always happy to go through the vendor hall. There's so many cool things to see, so many cool people to interact with. For me, getting to obviously talk to the Warlord Games crowd. They're there. We see them all the time. Got to see Phil from Sherwood War Games, so that's always a good time to catch up with him. It was a good time to talk to the guys at Death Ray Designs who had provided me the terrain that was the underlayment for some of our Aeronautica stuff. So to talk about them and talk what worked well, what they had in the pipeline. But there was a moment where I was not proud to be a Lead Pursuit member. And I haven't released the photos publicly because it shames me. It shames me greatly that I'd made the laps around and I saw the cool wargaming things, the cool sci-fi things, the cool board games, the neat hobby stuff. And I did see the display of, yes, My Little Ponies as chibis. And I walked right past. But then you two, you planted the flag there as if daring me to document the fact that you were haggling to buy chibi My Little Ponies. Please justify yourself to the Lead Pursuit listenership. How is this possible?
Dude, I mean, I don't really think I need to make an excuse for being, an amazing father. I mean, is that something I have to justify to our listeners? That's not something that I can just be proud of doing, right? I mean,
yes,
come on,
yes,
man.
you could have a college fund for them. A college fund, that would be being an amazing father. Buying chibi ponies as a middle-aged man is a little disturbing.
Well, prior to seeing the chibi ponies, we did have a college fund, and now that's been spent on chibi ponies. So,
Brett,
I'm more of an instant gratification kind of guy for my kids.
Exactly. Brett, defend yourself because you were right there.
Yeah, I was right there. They were pretty cool. I mean, even though they were My Little Ponies, they were pretty neat models. And I was thinking that photo might make for a good episode, like cover photo. I don't know. There's potential.
I think it is. Either that or it's a good Grognard Gazette photo. So that.
And they weren't all ponies. They were not all ponies.
Oh, okay, so
there were dragons, unicorns,
in full defense,
princesses.
there were many other little chibi miniatures, and they were well done. So in the process of me making fun of this, they were well done. But I think what's even funnier is the fact that didn't you double down? Didn't you actually buy more chibi My Little Ponies than you originally intended?
That did happen. Yeah, I mean, it did happen. I don't have anything.
You just can't defend yourself. It happened. Okay, I just want to make sure everyone is clear on this. So.
Yeah, there was a misstep with the charge on the credit card, and I kind of did, the Doug and said just let it ride, and they just gave me more handfuls of chibi ponies, and we just called it.
I've already shamed myself and the Lead Pursuit crew. It can't get any worse at this point, so just keep shoveling them on. All right, that's fair enough.
What did the girls?
Yeah,
think
so that is the real point.
Have they seen?
Yeah, have they seen these, or are you hiding them in your hobby area?
I'm hiding them. No, oddly enough, they did like them, but in like true form. We got that free like cheesy box of tank games, so I got all these chibi ponies and thought they were gonna love them, and the first thing they said was, "Oh, can we put together some tanks?" I was like,
"Yes,
yeah, go ahead, yeah, doing something right at least."
Exactly. Oh, well, that's funny. That's standard. Kids will enjoy the box that the toy came in rather than the actual toy. So, But that wasn't the only frustration that happened. So I know we were making our last walk through, and Brett was rolling by, waiting to buy the exact motorcycle for his bolt action army. Now, I'm gonna take a step back, and we're gonna pick on a vendor here, but we're also gonna absolutely increase the hyperbole, and we're going to make this as funny as possible. So we know mistakes happen. We know not everybody knows every single bit of information about every piece of model gear they have, but this was a moment of sad Brett. So it makes me happy to relate the story a little bit. But Brett, you don't get to tell the story. Steve and I get to tell parts of the story first. So we roll up, and Brett is all excited to buy a specific model of BMW motorcycle. And it's going to be an R75 motorcycle, and it's going to have the exact Eastern Front, late war, right? Mid to late war kind of figures.
Yes, sidecar with
a sidecar, the exact model that I need. And he knows this. He's seen it. He's looked at it on the internet. And the vendor goes, yeah, man, no problem. This one right here is the same one. It's got a different box art on it. And of course, Steve and I kind of look at each other like, okay, maybe it does, but I thought Brett had researched this. And Brett, what was going on in your mind at this time? What were you thinking as you had your hands on the model and you're getting a little bit of that adrenaline rush?
I was all excited to get the motorcycle, but I remember I said to the guy, like, okay, I got this particular army. Is this gonna work out for me? Because I seem to recall there's different ones. He's like, oh, no, you're good. He's like, I tell you what, I give it to you for $20. I'm like, man, good to go, right? I'm all excited. So
what was the MSRP for that?
Yeah. I walk out the door. I'm reading the box, like the back of the box, because I'm all excited. Like it's got the description of what the contents are. And the one I got was, it was an R75 motorcycle. That's all good, but it was an Africa Corps one. So the figures that go inside were Africa Corps figures, which won't match, the army that I'm building and stuff. And on top of that, dang sticker says $19. So
you got upcharged and got the wrong figures. You got the great deal. Oh, yeah. So, and I bring that up not to MF a specific vendor, because this kind of stuff always happens, and people are wheeling and dealing, and they're doing it all day, and they're trying to make deals. And it was just funny because it was like the perfect storm. And Brett gets back to the hotel and looks at his box, and it's like, wait, this isn't what I wanted. So we had sad Brett that evening, and
I felt like the guy down in storage area B from Office
yeah,
Space.
exactly. You promised me there'd be cake, and there was no cake. And they said they were going to take care of the roaches down here, but there's no roach spray. Yeah, you were definitely that guy. So, but they remedied it. So you went back, you got it fixed, did the swap out. But it's funny because it's something to always think about at conventions. I normally am very guilty of it. This year was the first year I didn't have, as I call it, vendor fever. It's kind of like buck fever, taking that shot before you're ready. I really only bought a handful of things, and I did not do a lot of the impulse buy where it's like, oh, that's cool. Ooh, look at that. Let's go get one of those. Or, hey, this is the only thing I need. I think the only impulse buy I did was buying a set of ultramarine dice so that you couldn't buy them, because that made me all warm and fuzzy inside. But that was my denial list for the vendor walkthrough. I didn't really find much else. Bought a couple sets of chits, and then kind of arced around and looked at all the games that I wanted to play but didn't want to buy a starter set for. So
I actually showed great restraint. That R75 was kind of like my biggest impulse buy. I got some Arena Rex models and stuff. I mean,
let's clarify that. So what game did Chris get out of after the last Adepticon? He got out of Arena Rex, and you two just got back into Arena Rex. Awesome. Good planning.
Well, just like him, we don't have anybody to play with, so that's why he got rid of his. But Steve and I justified it because we said, well, we'll see each other at the occasional con, and maybe – if we go to Adepticon every year, maybe it'll be a reason to buy another, collect the next Arena Rex model, whatever. They were cool models.
Their models are awesome.
Get in for
they're super cool. I realize I'm never going to play it, so I'm not going to buy in. But that's,
dude. I think, was more Arena Rex events going on like continuously throughout the weekend than like any other. I mean, besides like 40K or anything like that. They were gaming all weekend with that game. It was nuts over there in the little like side thing next to the vendor hall. That Arena Rex was going strong.
See, Chris, if you're listening to the podcast, instead of playing Gigolo to Ukrainian refugee grandmothers, you could have been here at Adepticon playing Arena Rex. But no, it was more important for you to be in Europe. So congratulations on doing your part for the insurgency. But anyway, I must move on. Vendor hall, anything else? Any other crazy expenditures, at least on the first day?
I got a few paints and stuff, but nothing big. I mean, the Arena Rex was like the most expensive purchase. The R75 wasn't an expensive model, obviously. It was just a more like impulsive thing because I just saw it. Was like, wow, cool.
Wow, cool. I got screwed.
Motorcycle.
Oh, that's all right. Okay, so
I did show solidarity, though. I really wanted that Jeep. And after Brett got so disappointed, I said, no.
Damn it, I'm not buying that Jeep. I'm going to ruin my day because Brett's day was ruined too.
Exactly.
What a team player. Wow, I know why we keep you around now. All right, so.
Oh, should we tell them about the World of Tanks? Should we not even call the guys out? I guess it's too late because I've already said it.
We're going to call them out. Let's call. Did you guys ask? Did you ask on Thursday or did you ask on Friday?
Yeah, I think we asked.
I thought
that
was a Thursday night.
I thought it was a Friday story. That's a
row.
Friday story. Hold that story to Friday.
Okay.
And then you can call out those guys. So Friday, yeah, because they had partied hard on Thursday night. So Gale Force 9 had a good time Thursday night. We knew that. I don't know what we did Thursday night. Not party. I think we had dinner somewhere reasonable. So Friday, did a midway dogfight demo game first thing in the morning. That was a lot of fun. Had some good interest. Had some people that had never played. Had some people that were about to play in the tournament the next day show up. So that was good. Had a chance to go through and do just some basic dogfight stuff and just do an intro demo game. I enjoyed it. You guys went back for more painting with Brett. I broke my gear. Broke my airbrush. You had a little bit of technical difficulties there at the beginning, right?
No way, man. It was awesome. The class was awesome. What I discovered, though, was that the stuff I was using at home was completely broken, right?
Right,
That's what I learned in my class.
You're like, wow, this airbrush is amazing. It works awesome and doesn't spatter everywhere. Why is my home one so crappy? Because you broke it.
Yeah, my airbrush at home was no better than a rattle can at best, right?
Which is pretty amazing when you see the work that you've done with it. So it's pretty funny that I'm like, well, shit, maybe we should just give him a rattle can and take away his airbrush.
If you would have been sitting next to him, you would have a real appreciation for how amazing it is that he painted those ships with that airbrush. Because when he plugged in his airbrush, it looked like he butchered a pig full of Steinelreis primer. That's what it looked like. I mean, he was covered in black primer, leaking all over the place. It was amazing.
Nice. I'm glad I was not there, but instead teaching people to play Blood Red Skies. But because we're not going to miss a chance to make fun of people. From what you guys told me, everybody was in that class to learn except one guy. Is this the class that had the dude up front, or was that Mammocon's class?
No, that was the face painting class.
So, yeah. Well, we got to bring this up. So who goes to a painting class to spend more time talking about themselves than learning from the instructor?
Yeah, it was nuts. The dude was just, and the guy actually wound up winning like first place in one of the Golden Demon Awards. I was like, why are you
here?
First place Golden Demons in a face painting class. It was really kind of an interesting thing, but hey, whatever.
Yeah. So at least you guys went through the airbrush class as well. Got a lot out of that. We got another midway game in that evening, and I have to say, huge kudos to Mike Lewis for helping us with that, because he hopped in and he wanted to demo to a lot of the other historical gamers he knew. So I got to kick back and sit there and try to actually finish the game packet for the Aeronautica game the next day and get ready for that. So that was awesome to see a Blood Red Skies player that we had played with at Siege of Vicksburg actually going out and demoing the game to other historical guys. And the part that warms my heart is Mike Rafferty, the historical coordinator, was in that game. And then now Mike cannot blame me for spending a lot of money on Blood Red Skies. He can blame Mike Lewis because it's his fault, not mine. I did not demo the game to him. So that was good because, once again, got to see the community grow a little bit. and we spent some time, doing our own thing, gaming, whatever, on Friday night. All right. Other Friday comments. Oh, Friday. So Friday, Gale Force 9. So wait. So you guys, after your face painting, after your airbrush painting class this time, so your spray painting, you decided, let's go get a demo of World of Tanks, right? Wah, wah. How did that work out?
Yes. Well, Steve and I have been kind of kicking around this notion that there's probably some tank game that's kind of cool with a smaller scale than 28 millimeter. We can make a bunch of tanks and we can make pew pew noises. And lo and behold, we walk past this booth and it's World of Tanks, and they have these blister packs of all these different tanks and the cutest little Stuke 3s and Panzer 4s, all the cool stuff. So we said to the guys, hey, you guys got doing demo games? We'd really like to check out a demo game. And Steve and I are like, if this demo game is fun at all, we're buying like all the tanks, right? And the guys are like, demo game? I don't know. Maybe, yeah, you know what? Come around tomorrow, maybe. I mean, they weren't enthusiastic about it at all. I don't know what they were there for.
To stand around and look good, between all the models and not demo them?
I guess everybody already knows everything about World of Tanks. You just buy all the models, I guess. I didn't know anything about it. I wanted to see more, but they kind of blew us off. So that's how that went.
Yeah, well.
And more to say about that the next
exactly.
Day,
Which, I bring up one of the weird things this year was historicals were, as we said, exiled to a different hotel. So you had in the Renaissance Schaumburg, the standard venue was where all the sci-fi and fantasy was, and then historical or things similar to historical, like Saga. So when people were playing Saga with giants, they were in the historical venue. Don't worry about it. It's not the same as AOS. But all the historicals were in the Hyatt, which was about a 5-minute drive away. Not a big deal. But it was weird because you didn't have the usual dynamic of, if you wanted a demo game, they would point you to the Historicals Hall and, hey, go down there to either Adventure or to Schaumburg or one of the other rooms and go see these guys. They're playing a game. And it was kind of weird for us, too, with Blood Red Skies because we were not there right next to Warlord like we are at a lot of events where we're doing our demos and stuff right next to the Warlord table. So when somebody comes by and says, hey, what about Blood Red Skies? Then John Russell in his kilt stands there and goes, aye, be at that table there tomorrow at 3 p.m. And then we do our demo game. But it went that way. So we'll talk more about the split venue towards the end, but let's start by saying it made demo games difficult, to say the least. Okay, so Saturday. Big day for Lead Pursuit. Lot of fun. Wore me the fuck out. I should have been the one drinking margaritas at the end of the night, but I had to drive everyone home, so it wasn't me drinking margaritas. Start off with the Blood Red Skies tournament. 6 players, small size tournament, a little bit smaller than our usuals of 8 players. I thought it was a lot of fun. Obviously, Brett and Steve, you guys jumped in and had fun in there. I feel like it was a little bit of me cleansing my sins from previously, because I think Steve was still a little bit bitter that Gathering of Eagles I'd pulled him out. So I let you guys play and let you have fun, and it was good for me to run the event and sit back. But let's run down the winners and the awards. So let's start at the bottom with the Mighty Blue Falcon, the Blue Falcon Award. Now, I'll be honest, I've forgotten why we gave it to Don Gilmore. What did he do that was so terrible to everybody?
He had the cheatiest dice tower in the history.
That's right.
Of
I have blanked it out of my mind. I literally am so scarred from his dice tower that I'd forgotten. That's why we gave him the Blue Falcon.
My entire first game, you guys were like 2 tables away, and I kept hearing you yell something about Blue Falcon, and I was like, man, I wonder what Don's doing down there, man. He's making me proud.
I think we swore that he had magnets in his dice and the dice tower to roll out a specific number of 6s. because it was.
See, I didn't know. I thought it was something with his gameplay that he must have been
No,
doing. It was
it
just
was some
wearing Steve out.
serious Ocean's 11 type shit going on with that dice tower, man. That thing was just sixes all day. It was insane. I saw him pull it out later for AI, and I almost just like flipped the table. I was like, yeah, I'm leaving.
If there hadn't been 5 boards on the table, you would have flipped the table, but it was too many miniatures to throw. Yeah, so Don got the Blue Falcon Award, flew his George list again, even had a T-shirt, so I got to give him credit. He was repping his side the whole way, and that was fun. So I was super happy that we got to give a Blue Falcon Award for this year's tournament there. Third place, and I will totally mangle his name, Dukovitz, I think. Anybody who's got a Vitz in their name, I'm guaranteed to mangle. I'll call him John the Dude. Flying IAR 80s, did really well. And thankfully, it didn't seem totally game-breaking. I know we've talked about the IAR 80 maybe kind of in that sweet spot of all the aircraft. But I thought it did really well, especially because he's a fairly new player, and it was in there at third place.
Super well painted. He scolded me on my third game too. He caught one of my I don't know. I was caught napping with an ace kind of in the middle of the board. Everybody in his force got a chance to
take their turn with you. You were like the village bicycle.
Yeah.
Everyone had a ride.
It was a boom factory right in the middle of the board. It was awesome.
Yeah, so he did well. I was happy to see that, and we were all laughing because IR80s have kind of been the sleeper hit. I think more people look at the stats and play them. I think they're going to really enjoy those, which is a shameless plug for buy your 3D printed IR80s from Lead Pursuit. Okay, second place, Steve Toth, flying F4F-4 Wildcats? Wildcats? Really?
Yeah, the only reason that happened is because we had just recorded the episode that's dropping soon with Leslie and Jason talking about Wildcats, and we had kind of kicked around that swarm list with Wildcats, so I figured, what the hell, let's give it a shot, and it definitely was effective, but, the swarm list, just not feeling like it's a very fun way to play. Like, I just didn't really have that much fun gaming it, but yeah, I mean, the Wildcats, they can do it. They can get it done.
Yep. And you had, I think it was, 7 Wildcats out there?
8 Wildcats, a 4, a couple 3s, a couple 2s. And
Strong.
I forget,
Would
generic swarm
you
list.
change anything based on your play?
I'll tell you what, the first, I'd never played a swarm list before. So going back, like that first game I played against Don, I would play that game totally differently. I mean, with the swarm list, getting that extra deployment, because most guys are only taking 6 planes. You really have a chance to kind of gang up on and isolate one element. And if you do that with a swarm list, especially with the Wildcats, it's not like the Yak swarm list. With the Yaks have that 1 firepower. If you can isolate an element with the Wildcats with that 2 firepower, you're gonna really, like you said, you're gonna farm those boom chits.
Yeah, so what's kind of funny to me is you look at how everything laid out with all of the other players, and then, ironically, first place, Pat Doyle, and it pains me greatly that my flight school buddy was the number 1 winner, and I had to recognize him in front of everybody and couldn't just make fun of him. But he went out there with a 6 Wildcat using F4F-4s. So his list was obviously tweaked a little bit different, had more guys, and I think it had 2 aces, right, as I recall. So strong list there, and he came in first place quite handily with the lead and the points. So he did well. I'm trying to remember looking at the game matchups, Steve. So let's see here. It would have been Pat and let's see here.
I played Pat one time. My first game was with
I was
Pat.
going to say your first one there, Brett, was with Pat. How did that ace work against you?
I think we had a draw. He does not like my denial
Yeah,
list.
you both got a draw there, same number of boom chits even, so it was exact same point spread.
Mm-hmm. I had a similar outcome with him when he played Corsairs. And also, I think I used heavy flak presence to good effect in that game too. So that was, it was I don't want to say it was a frustrating game for him, but that denial list that I like to play sort of denied him some of his advantages.
Yeah, and it was
a draw.
kind of interesting the way this one shook out. The first pairing messed up the follow-on rankings a little bit because the intent was to pair people who had not necessarily played against each other previously at a GOE or whatever, but still put people in kind of a skill bracket. But it ended up being a chance that we didn't get the F4 versus F4 list. So I almost wish we'd had a fourth round fly off to see how that pairing would have gone.
There were a few people with that aggressive ace card.
Yeah.
Is that the one with the outmaneuver and the shoot in the same term? Man, that ace card is just that's special, man. When somebody plays that on and you're like, oh, I'm gonna outmaneuver you and I'm gonna shoot. I mean, if you're thinking about taking an ace list, that I think is for tournaments the ace card to go with.
I think Don or maybe John had that, or maybe both had that in their list. Somebody played that on me in the later games, I think.
Yeah, John had tough as his ace skill, and aggressive was what both of the aces that Don had played. So you got double teamed with aggressive on there. So that's being a super popular choice. And then a lot of those guys would then also take aggressive tactics if it matched with their aircraft type. Obviously for the F4, not near as much. Then it was usually defensive tactics was the pairing. But it's super interesting to see which ace skills were popular, and aggressive tactics was the far most popular doctrine card. Well, okay, so moving on from that, I got to say huge props to Adepticon. First year we did a Blood Red Skies tournament, and they came out the gate with 4 medals to support us, so that made me feel really good about Adepticon, caring about us and wanting to give us good swag to give away. It gave us a chance to refine some procedures, gave us a chance to make a new player data form, kind of standardize some things that we'll put out on the website, put into the ready room in case people want to use it as the tournament. And then we got the Warlord prize support. Hey guys, what boxes did we get for prize support?
Was it more collector's edition?
Collector's bendy plastic. Yep. Collector's classic. We'll call it BRS Classic Edition. How's that? So I don't say this to minimize, thank you to Warlord as usual for putting prize support. They've given us tournament packs. We opted not to do a tournament pack this time because we're having Adepticon medals. A lot of different things all laying into it, but it was so funny that the prize support this time was bendy plastic, which actually worked out well. So before I seem like I'm looking a gift horse in the mouth, all the people that had placed in there and received their Adepticon trophy, they didn't need bendy plastic. So what did we turn around and do? We gave bendy plastic to the guy that was going to then go out and had a bunch of friends that wanted to start playing Blood Red Skies. So it's a perfectly easy start. Here, take some Mustangs, take some 109s, take some Spitfires, take some Yaks, go paint some airplanes and go fly around. So don't want to act like we're totally looking a gift horse in the mouth, but it's just so funny that there is so much bendy plastic out there that we're all trying to get rid of. And I thought even me, I was like, I'm done with boxes of the A6 M50. Nope. Did inventory today. I still have 2 boxes of bendy plastic zeros. So don't piss off the Lead Pursuit podcast. We'll send you bendy plastic. But anyway, so anything else on the Blood Red Skies tournament? Steve, you want to gloat in your second place finish?
No, I thought it was cool. It's, Mike Lewis again was in, so that, he was at NashCon, he was at Siege of Vicksburg. Obviously Don, good to see him again. Another couple new people. We also had the one guy from Airdrome who came over Saturday morning, seemed to get into it. I don't know. It's just always cool when you can see those new people start to pop up in some of the events.
Yeah.
You should have wore your medal around, especially when we went over back to the main
Yeah, I don't know
hall,
why you weren't representing
you
with all the 40K players with their medals,
Like, look,
I got a medal too.
I just felt like, if it's only the small amount of people that played in the tournament, I don't know that I don't know that it carried the same weight.
Look at me, I beat 5 other people, but they all use deodorant. So yeah, Yeah, well, sometimes you're a big fish in a small pond, but you got to take advantage of that when you can. All right, so we finished up with that, took a quick break, slammed a bottle of Gatorade, drove over to the Schaumburg to where all the cool kids were hanging out, unlike us dusty historical people, and we set up for the Aeronautica Imperialis narrative game. Now, I got to say, we did not initially plan to host a game like this at Adepticon. We had kind of started getting into AI after we'd already registered for Adepticon. Figured, my God, somebody in the Games Workshop world is going to host this event. And guess who volunteered to do it? Well, us idiots. But I thought it was super fun. 10 players, 5 maps. Holy shit, I've never seen that many freaking little plastic and resin airplanes for 40K. I think the average player brought 3 armies. You guys agree on that? What were some of the numbers you guys saw for what people showed up to bring to play?
I mean, we got to just talk about the one dude.
We got to talk about Steven. So
we got to talk about Steven, who showed up with.
You're our favorite, but you also kind of scare us a little bit.
A little bit.
I think you like Aeronautica Imperialis just a little bit too much.
So just to get the numbers correct, he said that he had enough spaceships for 27 people to have a 250 point army. I believe that was correct, right?
Oh, and he was quick to caveat, but I'm sorry, they're not all painted to the 3-color minimum. I'm like, I really don't care at this point. If that many people could play from just the miniatures you have in that Home Depot box, we're in.
And you want to talk about just passion for a game, man. This guy loves this game, and he was super nice, super helpful to like me and Brett, who never really played before. Just super nice guy, super excited about the game. But there were a lot of spaceships at this event.
And that's why I laughed, because guys like Steven are what makes a community. And people that show up, and they're not just bringing their little pretty army, they're bringing stuff for everybody to play because they genuinely love playing. That made me already feel good about the crowd for AI. Because let me be honest, being a heresy guy, I was already a little snobbish about playing with 40K players. And then going into AI, I just wasn't sure what cross-section of 40K and heresy kind of players we were going to get. So when Steven's the first guy to roll up to the table, I'm like, oh, thank God, normal people who just like painting their models and playing games, people that aren't going to yell at me. So it was cool to have that whole crowd show up. And then everybody who showed up, even, the people that were kind of apologetic, they're like, I only brought 2 armies. It was really cool to have that group there. So, we played a lot of different stuff with terrain, with some wacky rules in there, and some constrained rules. I enjoyed watching, although Brett and I, we got beat up. We got the ringer took us to her table and beat us up, didn't she, Brett?
Yeah, I think I was taken advantage of a little bit, maybe.
Well, see, Steve had been beaten up at NashCon, so it was not Steve's turn in the barrel. It was our turn to play Rhonda, and it was so funny because I laughed watching the first game with you. I'm like, oh, she's going to school Brett, and this is going to be painful. And I think in the first or second turn with Rhonda, the gloves came off because she pretty much punched me in the face. And I don't remember if she shot down one of my fighters or if it was the first blood. She did the first damage. I had just rolled horribly, had missed all of my long and medium range shots at her. And then she gets the first damage on me. And I'm like, oh, fuck no. Oh, this is not fucking happening. And so the gloves came off and I was a thoroughly terrible opponent and I just beat the living snot out of her, I think. But it was one of those moments where I just laughed because it was fun to play that game on the side and not be a part of the main games, but to sit there and to get to play one of our favorite opponents to go play against, to play against Don's wife, Rhonda. So everybody else was over playing on some crazy terrain tables. I think we had the most reasonable table because there was nothing other than just the map to work with. But I learned a lot as an event organizer because AI is very different than Blood Red Skies, and we'll talk in detail about it in a separate episode. But There were some tables that just didn't work for some armies. So I felt bad for a couple guys because they're like, yeah, I had a lot of fun. The second table, I just couldn't compete on because of the rules, the special rules, the weather, whatever. So some lessons learned there, some ways we'll have to take a look at our AI events. But, it was a great bunch of people to work with. I think we learned a lot for how the AI events, how your player lists are different. I know, Brett, we talked about, distinguishing aircraft, and I think you've taken that back to kind of be part of your painting scheme for AI, that I really need to be able to show which aircraft is which, because they're going to be much more customized than Blood Red Skies. They're going to have special weapons, they're going to have special defensive systems. It's kind of there's not a pilot skill disc sitting there on the base, so you really have to distinguish your aircraft.
Yeah, a lot of my aircraft all look essentially the same. So that was kind of one of my big takeaways, was putting some kind of marking on them so I can distinguish one from another. And then I also got kind of a cool hobby idea from a Suriani player who changed his bases. The bases that come with the aircraft look very imperial with the rivets and everything on them. And he had modified his bases in a way to make them look a little bit more sleek, I guess. I mean, there's like aftermarket bases and all that that are maybe more faction specific, and I wasn't prepared to go that far. But just the way I did what he did, he filed off all those rivets and painted.
So you're saying he had the well-groomed base? It was Eldar-scaped.
Yes. So I adopted that from I just finished that project today, in fact.
Nice. My bases are still an absolute shit show. But I'll get around to painting those things, putting a priority on the models.
As much as it pains me to say it, like, for everybody to hear, though, Doug, the terrain you did for those tables was fantastic. I mean, the terrain was awesome. The tables looked so cool. You're so used to Blood Red Skies with just like, the plain mat with maybe a target or two flat targets on it. Man, you did just an awesome job on that scenery and the terrain. It was really fun to play on those tables with all that cool looking stuff.
Yeah, I was hoping that people enjoyed it, and it gave a little bit of a sense of scale, because the tough thing with, Blood Red Skies, altitude doesn't really play in. It's kind of modeled into your advantage level, but altitude is important in Aeronautica Imperialis, and so you want it to feel like whatever terrain is there towers above the fighters if they can't fly through it. So we tried a couple different things. We had some other add-on aircraft, some shuttles, and some evacuation missions that then Steve and I played again on, I guess it was Sunday afternoon we played, and that was fun. Sorry to waffle stomp you, but it's not personal. But that was, I enjoyed doing the terrain. Casey did some of the terrain as well, so some of the shuttles and some other stuff were done by him. And I'll be honest, my favorite one to build, although it took me the longest and was the most technically challenging, not from a painting, but just from an assembly point of view, was that Sky Fortress. And getting that thing to where it's at least somewhat transportable, but I can also, put it on the table and have it sit out there to dominate the center of the table. Brett, I think you played, did you play a game on the Sky Fortress one?
Yeah, I got to play on that table with a guy who's a really experienced player, plays all the time, and we both had an awesome time on that with that Sky Fortress. Yeah, it was super thematic and really fun for both of us.
Yeah, so I think there's some tweaks we'll make to those scenarios for those people that are AI players that have had to suffer through all of this part of the podcast talking about BRS. For the AI players, I'm going to package those scenarios together, put them out in the Facebook groups in case anybody wants to use them, because we did make tweaks from the standard ones in the campaign books or that Games Workshop put out. So they're slightly tweaked in an attempt to make them a little more event play balanced. But once again, we'd love to hear any feedback, especially, we talked to everybody at the event, everybody enjoyed it, but obviously when you think about it after the fact, you might go, you know what, you should change the victory point values for the shuttle or whatever. And we'd always love to hear that feedback so we can make the next AI event, which there will be many, the next AI event that we host, make it better. So hopefully you guys, both you all enjoyed playing it.
Oh, it was great. And, we've always said about Blood Red Skies, it's a great game for people who don't know how to play to just hop in. And even like, coming into the tournament, nobody cares. It's just fun. Everybody will help. I was really nervous about getting into an AI tournament. just because it's a much bigger group of people and didn't know who you were going to get. I could say 100% the same thing. Like Brett was talking about, there were a couple of real experienced players that were, oh my God, just super helpful, learned so much from them. And it just seemed like it has the same feel kind of as Blood Red Skies, where if you have any doubts about playing, just find somebody to play with. I think the community's pretty good bunch of dudes. I think you're going to have a good time.
It does. It seems like it's a really cool subset of the 40K and Heresy community, and it seemed like a lot of experienced gamers. So it was people that had already played a lot of 40K, a lot of other things. And they weren't there to just smash face, although there was the double Thunderhawk list at one point, which I'm glad I didn't play against for 250 points. Poor Steven, our Tau player, got drug across the board by that Thunderhawk list. But there were just a lot of really cool people. And so I was super excited to get around gamers that were as excited about the 40K narrative and fluff and lore as I was, but weren't these super competitive, just there to smash your face in kind of players. People that wanted to have a good time, wanted something challenging with a scenario, and more importantly, wanted to just kind of hang out with the crowd. So that was a lot of fun. Any other takeaways? I know we played a lot of AI on our own. I know you guys played a game against each other. I played Brett. I played Steve. I really enjoyed that, guys. Thanks for being my, punching bags and my jousting dummies. I appreciate that. Not that I'm any great master of Aeronautica Imperialis. I think I got lucky. I think I jinxed y'all's dice. But I really have enjoyed playing it. So for the Warlord Games crowd, I'm sorry. We're going to talk about AI in some upcoming podcasts. And for the AI crowd, you will have to endure some Warlord Games and some dusty old historical stuff, but we will talk AI. So, all right. Saturday night. What did we do Saturday night? Did we go to dinner somewhere? I'm just seeing Steve laugh, so there has to be a story here.
We went where I guess everybody went.
Well, everyone cool went, apparently, because everyone there was having a good time like we were.
Yeah, nobody from the con.
I don't think I saw a single person with a medal around their neck or with a stinky Warhammer 40K t-shirt.
Yeah, I mean, that play, I don't know whose idea it was to go there, but if you're ever in, I guess, Schaumburg and you're looking for somewhere to go on a Saturday night,
Schaumburg on Saturday night, Fat Rosie's is the place to go. Great Mexican food, great margaritas. Now, I must say, I admit I'm a connoisseur of tequila and margaritas and things like that, and I'm open to new things. I have never willingly said, surprise me when it comes to margaritas. But you, Steve, you looked right at the waitress and said, surprise me. Bold move.
Hey, she looked like she knew what she was talking about.
She did.
Hey,
she took care of you.
Good.
The first one was
margarita.
Was a pineapple margarita, and that obviously did well. The second one was a guava margarita. How did the guava treat you?
I'll be honest, I don't even know that I still don't think I know what guava is. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, it was good. I didn't get a free one like Brett.
Yeah, Brett got the free margarita out of the whole deal. I kind of laughed about that.
I mean, look at me. Come on, guys. You've been around me long enough. These are fishbowl margaritas too, right? They were big old margaritas.
They were not tiny. And so that was the funny part, as I was waiting to laugh at you all that, oh, look at these suckers in their big margaritas. And my beer came in that size. My draft beer was the size of this fishbowl margarita. I'm like, oh, this could be a one beer night. So yeah, it was a good time. So if you're bored on a Saturday night, go to Fat Rosie's. There were lots of people drinking lots of alcohol there, having a very good time, singing songs that we didn't know the words to. And I think the funniest part was we all looked at the Google Maps readout, and it said closes at 10 p.m. The party was still going strong when we left at 10:30, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They weren't shutting down anytime
soon. That place did not close at 10. So just ignore that.
Yeah, so in case you're scared off by the fact that Fat Rosie's closes at 10, it does not close at 10.
Fireworks? I mean, they had fireworks going off inside, right? Yeah. Or like Roman candles walking around.
When you're singing, walking around with a sparkler and Roman candle, yeah, it's a great night.
With the airplane full of shots.
So exactly, the airplane full of shots. Now here's what we have to bring. We have to throw this out to the community, because we're community guys. We care about the community. We're feel inspired. We saw this airplane full of shots go by at one point, and I'm not sure what the occasion or how you end up being the person condemned to have a airplane full of shots go by. But we think this needs to be incorporated into the Lead Pursuit podcast events in the future. That something historical. We're not saying an airliner of shots, but maybe a B-17, perhaps even a B-36 with a wing load of shots needs to be at some of our events. We haven't figured out if it's a penalty or a bonus that you take the shot.
Yeah, I think maybe that should be like a poll. Like, let's put out a poll of what the shot carrying airplane should be.
Well,
I mean, maybe
I
like a C-47 is more fitting.
C-47 is pretty fitting. I think it's a two-parter. I think the community absolutely has to weigh in on the airframe, but more importantly, they also have to weigh in on the rules. Is it a penalty, or if you do well, do you have to take shots to reduce your ability to do well? So if you finish a round of the tournament and you're in the top 3 seats, you do a shot, because hopefully you'll do worse in the next round of the tournament. So who knows? Up to you, the community. And Aeronautica players, you're in on this too. Maybe we'll build a large space barge.
Thunderbolt
yeah, exactly.
or something, right?
We'll build one of the big, what is it? Not the Pathfinder, but the
Valkyrie?
yeah, something.
Vendetta gunship with
Marauder.
shots?
We need a
Yeah,
Marauder bomber with shots on the wings. So big Marauder bomber. All right, that's going to get us in so much trouble. All right, so let's continue on. Sunday. Should have been a day of recovery, but no, we rolled right back in. Played some more Blood Red Skies. Obviously, Sunday everyone's wrapping up, but because we're gluttons for punishment, we stuck around till Monday. So Sunday was our opportunity to pick up a couple extra things. The team over at Table War was awesome. They went back into their warehouse, found me one of their Aeronautica mats. So I got to bring that out and play on that and take some photos on that. And if you're an AI player and you have not seen their mats, the same crowd that does fat mats and everything else, their Aeronautica mat is pretty cool. So we got to do some vendor hall stuff, got to do another quick BRS game, knock that one out, do a little carrier strike type of routine. Super appreciate the two of you doing that demo game. At that point, my demo game bucket was full, and I really just wanted to sit around and drink a cup of coffee. So thanks for taking that, on. Yeah. Health and comfort. But a lot of guys got out of there on Sunday, and the historical team was there to take care of us. So that was a super cool kind of finish to the event. Anything else for Sunday that you guys want to bring up? Nothing at all. You're all waiting to see who's going to jump on the grenade first. Okay, well, none of us are going to talk about it, so that's good.
No, actually, there's something we have to talk about there. I found like a new BRS bromance that lives only like 40 minutes away now, right? So
that is true.
Just by dumb luck, huh?
Yeah, so I laughed. New player lives right around the corner from you, so you have no excuse to not play in person. Now that we're back in the gaming era.
I'm going to start playing my campaign rules that I wrote with Brett with him in person, and Brett's going to get all salty.
He's going to get all jealous, He's going to cry.
Yeah.
He's going to cry in his fruity drink down there in Florida.
There's a meme for that. Is it like that guy that's just like standing around in the like?
Yeah, it's going to be you standing around the pool by the swing set, on the bench. I wonder when I'm going to play my campaign system next.
I think more appropriately is that meme with the girl, and I'm the guy in the middle looking at my new BRS friend strolling the opposite way.
Your new BRS BFF. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, that guy picked up on the game really quick, so he's not gonna. You're not gonna come away, with a win as much playing him. So be prepared to. You're gonna play him. He's gonna whip you more, and you won't feel so powerful.
I'll come crawling back. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, that's awesome.
You'll learn to appreciate me better.
Oh, okay. So to wrap it up, one of the big thank yous that absolutely has to go out is to the entire Adepticon staff, and it's always been fun for me to go to Adepticon as just a gamer, just someone playing. I've never had to host an event there. I've never really interacted with the staff other than picking up my swag bag and my badge. And their volunteers there have always been great, but it was cool to get a peek behind the curtain as an event coordinator. So the Adepticon staff was super professional, super helpful. It was awesome. Even the Adepticon app that everybody else was using that told you, when games were going, what your schedule was. For us staff members, it showed us what tables we had assigned to us that we could play on. It was really awesome. I was a dummy, and so I had my staff stuff in a different email than my actual game badge. So I had to go up to every 40K guy and go, "Hello there, Mr. 40K player. Can you help me find what table I should be on for Aeronautica?" But at least everybody was pretty helpful about that. The GW event coordinators that worked with us, so the guys that did Kill Team, we shared tables with Kill Team. They were super cool, and that was awesome to get to stand there and talk to those guys and say, "Hey, we're gonna roll in, we're gonna move some stuff. Are you guys good with it?" And then GW prize support. We picked on Warlord. GW right out of the gate. 2 Aeronautica boxed starter sets was their buy-in for what they gave to the Aeronautica guys. Kind of ironic because everybody already had starter set armies. So it was kind of funny to see who needed and who did not need the GW prize support. But either way, GW rolled strong on that. And if you've never seen behind the curtain and never walked into the prize support staff area to see what GW and the other game companies have provided, it's amazing. I mean, there's literally a small, back closet full of all the stuff that's been donated by the companies. So thanks to GW, thanks to Warlord, thanks to all the companies that went out there and gave prize support. Really appreciate it at a big event like that. Now, as much as I say that I love 40K, I have to give props to the historical side. So the guys like Mike Rafferty, Don Ayers, both those guys on the historical team, super helpful. Super straightforward with where our tables were, what our layout was. We had tons of room. It was cool to share with Tyler from No Dice, No Glory. He was doing all the Firelock demo games there. So it was cool to be in a space with another company that wanted to have fun and not just be a bunch of boring, competitive style gamers. So we had fun with those guys. And the Hyatt. What did you guys think of the Hyatt overall? I mean, as a hotel, I realized we weren't at the main venue, but I thought it was a pretty nice setup.
Yeah, there was that restaurant right there and the nice bar right down the way.
75 feet from our tables, there was a Starbucks, a restaurant, and a bar. So I can't exactly complain. It'd be further to go from our tables to the bar and the restaurant in the Schaumburg Renaissance. So, who knows if they'll do the historical exile again next year? Who knows how it's all.
Was that kind of because of COVID?
Yeah, that was really the impetus to it. Was they didn't know what the restrictions on the amount of people that could be in the main space. So they had sought an alternate venue. Even though when we all saw the photos of the outside of the Hyatt, we're like, "Oh my God, is this a prison?" But on the inside, it was obviously much nicer than the photos of the outside, and it was well laid out. So. Obviously, next year there's a lot of cool things that we've been talking about doing. Me and then Mitch Reed from No Dice, No Glory. We've been talking about areas that we can all kind of collaborate and do some cool dual podcast kind of things and host some live events there. But overall, I thought the historical exile was not terrible, with the exception of what sucked terribly: the shuttle.
The shuttle.
Yeah, the shuttle blew. You guys tried to catch it at one point, right?
Oh, that was a nightmare, man. I think I got swindled worse than Brett with that motorcycle from the hotel valet. I'm pretty sure I paid the guy to do what he was supposed to do for free for some reason. Yeah, I don't know. The shuttle was just bad. It was bad.
That was man. If there's, I literally had no complaints for the weekend because I didn't ride the shuttle. I chose to drive, and what I'll say is, if they do the historical exile. And you have an option to take your car, don't worry about finding parking. You can do the spin around the lot once or twice, and you'll find parking over at the Schaumburg Renaissance. So don't take the shuttle. And my recommendation to Adepticon is, I know there was a push for the shuttle, but it didn't work out for us. So finding more parking next to the Renaissance is kind of the answer there, because I thought that worked out fine for us. Even when I had to drop you guys off, like, "Hey kids, go have fun at the pool. Dad's dropping you off." But most times it wasn't too terrible. You could park out back in the vendor area and just try not to freeze your nuts off before you walked inside. But anyway, anything else? Big picture from Adepticon you guys saw that you'd like to bring up or talk about?
Man, if you've never been there, I mean, you just got to go. I mean, it's an insanely awesome event. Like you were saying, all the hosts, the historical side, both sides were, I mean, if you've never been to Adepticon as a gamer, you have to go. It's just amazing.
Yeah, and so what's this other content we might be showing here and talking about in the next episode or two?
Oh yeah, we actually had some non-gamers show up to Adepticon to kind of give an outside perspective on all of us nerds and weirdos and dorks that get together and play.
There's a lot of stinky people around here.
No, so I think they had some cool advice to give to us as gamers, and but yeah, if you've never been to Adepticon, this was my first one. I'd heard you guys talking about it. I took the plunge, and it did not disappoint. Just an awesome time.
Awesome. Brett, any last minute thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just so glad Steve went. It was cool to be with him for his first time to Adepticon.
You're just happy to pop his cherry. That's what you're
2019.
saying, right?
Yeah. This is only my second time. So, 2019, I was in the same boat, right? Just kind of just stunned by all the stuff, the vendor hall, all that stuff. So anyway, it was fun. And I hear Leslie in the UK, he's interested in maybe coming over. We were talking to him at happy hour, and sounds like he's already, the wheels are already turning. It'd be kind of cool. You can imagine that. Some folks coming from another continent to come to Adepticon and hang out with us. That'd be awesome.
I think we'll have a good BRS crowd at the next one. There was a lot of moving parts for this one, and it was there was a lot of questions about how things were going to be done. So next year should be a lot more normal, a lot more standard, and kind of be in everyone's comfort level. So I think that will be, that'll mean there's much larger attendance than there was this year. But here's the funny thing about cons like Adepticon. You need to go see them. It's not everybody's scene. I'll be honest. Sometimes it is a huge crowd. It's a pain in the ass. Parking can be tough. The vendor hall's crowded. That may not be your scene, but it's worth going to at least see all the different games that are played and see them all in one big area. So I think it's definitely a lot of fun. I'm just glad that on the drive to the airport, Brett didn't pipe up and go, what we ought to do is start another podcast. So no more good ideas from the Good Idea Fairy. So that worked well. Although
we should do an Oak and Iron podcast.
I'm not buying any more damn games. But the good thing was we had our revenge. So I had my revenge watching you do the sea bag drag, watching you drag all of your suitcases on the train and up the elevator and around to get checked in. That made me feel warm inside as you suffered for all of that VIG gear you had to take back.
Yeah, that's something we have to seriously consider on future Adepticon trips with all the stuff we have to bring for the events we're going to run and everything. We're going to have to consider a different way of getting our stuff to and from, because I got to have room to get back with my swag, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's something that we'll have to think about, especially for Aeronautica, that is a little more terrain intensive than Blood Red Skies. But as each of these events gets larger and we have more mats to carry and more things to do, this year for me it was tough supporting two game systems because I had a fair number of mats. Thankfully, you guys brought some mats as well, so it made my life easier. But and then bringing swag. How could we not talk about our own Lead Pursuit swag? How did we fail to talk about this? Steve, you left me hanging.
No, I think if you sign up for one of our events, we might be a group of a couple of screw ups here, but if you sign up for one of our events, you're gonna go home with something cool at least, right? So we gave away the whiskey glasses and some T-shirts and stuff. So we want to make sure everybody has a good time too, and I think by and large everybody did, and they liked what they went home with. So it was a great weekend.
Yeah, it was funny that you were the guy that showed up with the heaviest bags at the start, and then with the empty bags as we're all going home. So yeah, I was really happy with those glasses. Somehow I managed not to steal one myself. I'm a absolute moron, but that's fine. I'm sure we'll do that again at some other event, maybe at Crucible or one of the other ones. We'll do some more glass swag. Well, guys, we've been chatting for almost an hour and a half now. Really appreciate you guys coming on tonight and recapping what we did for Adepticon. And we'll have more of the Adepticon stinky gamer humor over the next weeks with our discussions with the novice gamers. But any last minute thoughts? Anything you'd like to leave the community with? Nothing? You guys got nothing? Wow, this is the quietest you guys have been. This is amazing. All right, so would like to thank everyone for listening. Please go out there and like and review our podcast, especially on iTunes. We'd also like you to go out there and leave us some feedback. So if you think we're a bunch of losers because we're now playing a Games Workshop a game again, you can say that, and you can tell us that, and you can say it on Facebook. You can say it on Instagram. You can even say it on our website where we have a contact form. You can tell us what losers we are. But by golly, we enjoyed Aeronautica Imperialis. So until the next time when we talk about Aeronautica Imperialis, Blood Red Skies, and more aerial wargaming, thank you for joining the Lead Machine Podcast.